Hey, welcome to Sports Daily. I'm Michael Artsis from the headquarters of Sports.com in New York City alongside my partner in crime, Darrell Reed.
Back in the studio today.
We're back in the studio. We got the air conditioning going, but we had a fun day yesterday at the track, the Monticello Motor Club.
Real fun day, real fast day. Lots of brakes, lots of burning rubber.
Absolutely, and a lot of video that we're going to be bringing to you over the next few days and weeks. And even later in the show, we'll have some video that I think will surprise you a little bit. This is Sports.com and Ustream.tv teaming up to bring you Sports Daily. You can call us at 347-480-1724. Again, 347-480-1724. No guests today, so it's just me and D. Call us up. Talk to us about what you've got on your mind, or tell us we're wrong or right about a topic we're talking about. We got a lot to get to. We've got to talk some golf. McIlroy is doing pretty well after falling apart in the Masters, and Schwartzel, who won the Masters, didn't even make the cut.
Your boy Schwartzel.
Hey, we're going to get to that. It's Masters hangover, like Super Bowl hangover. Adrian Gonzalez signs a 7-year, $154 million deal. Is it too big? And are baseball salaries out of control? We'll talk about that. How about how his numbers are? He's batting .268 with 1 home run and 7 RBIs. Is that good enough for those kind of numbers?
You know, we got to talk some NHL, which you love, some NBA. It's playoff time in both of those avenues, both those sports.
We do have to talk NHL, NBA playoffs, and we also have to talk about the NFL lockout. And there's some more stuff we still have to talk about. So, and even some new technology we might have to talk about. So we've got a great show. Let's get underway talking about golf. Most shows don't lead with golf. I want to lead with golf. Let's do it.
Go ahead.
So
what do you got?
You're saying here in your mind that my boy Schwartzel.
No. Before we get to that, tell the folks, you know, about what you read in the Huffington Post today. Tell them about that.
According to HuffingtonPost.com, I'm going to go there. There's new golf ball technology that is made from the golf balls.
Like Mike came in like this was the story of the year. Like
no,
he's like,
I didn't come in.
These golf balls it's so serious.
Why?
You know?
Well, why are you saying it like that? No, I just said here's a story. That's interesting. There are golf balls that are 100% biodegradable. They're made from lobster shells, and
I like lobster.
And they'll biodegrade, and they supposedly work as good as regular golf balls, but instead of costing $1 a golf ball, they cost 19 cents a golf ball.
I had lobster last night.
You did have lobster last night.
When we went out to dinner. Hopefully they use those shells to make some new golf balls.
I hope that they do use those shells to make some golf balls. And here's the thing. There are a lot of questions about it. Will the golf balls be strong enough? Will they hold up getting hit as hard as golf balls do? How will the golf balls last? Could you have a golf ball for a while? Will it smell in your bag if you have it for a while? But one of the things that puts people off about playing golf is not only the greens fees and the cart fees, but it's the cost of the balls. $1 a ball if you lose 10 balls during a match. And $1 is a cheap ball.
When I went out to play golf, I lost a whole bag. I think I bought 32. Okay. I lost a whole bag of golf balls.
Knowing you probably spent about $64 on those balls.
I was on vacation. It was in Puerto Rico.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. If you
play what
golf,
you got to pay.
But if you play golf
from the resort,
okay, $64 is not going to kill you one time. But if you play golf 3 days a week or even once a week,
if I was an avid golfer, I probably wouldn't lose as many golf balls.
What happens to those golf balls you lose? They sit in ponds, they sit in water, they sit. Some courses are even on the side of real bodies of water, not man-made bodies of water. They sit there. What happens to the golf balls when they're thrown into garbage dumps and all this stuff? I'm not an environmentalist. I'm not a tree hugger. I'm just saying
they end up in the bottom of the ocean with everything else.
It might be a good thing to have these golf balls that are biodegradable. Here's my thing, though. As far as I know, they've tried lots of different golf ball technology throughout the years. It's very hard to get a golf ball approved by the PGA. And when you do get a golf ball approved, they don't change them much. A golf ball is pretty much the same today as it has been for the last 100 years. There's some changes, and sometimes
aren't there some golf balls that are illegal to use?
Oh, there are definitely golf balls that are illegal to use, but then what's the point of playing with them? So you know, the
They're
question
good
is,
to practice with.
will
especially
this
for
golf ball be approved?
non-professionals like myself.
Right.
Or if you're out on the course, you know, just you and some buddies. Everybody's not a professional golfer. Most people who are golfers aren't professionals.
The question is, will these golf balls be approved? And then if they're approved, will they actually be good? Will they drive long enough? Will they play correctly? And I think that that's a big thing with golf balls is a guy gets used to the way the ball hits and lies and all that stuff.
I mean, maybe we can have your boy Schwartzel check him out, test him out. Maybe
I'm
that'll be a good
maybe that's why he
for
didn't
him.
make the cut. So Schwartzel doesn't make the cut after winning the Masters, and I think it's just Masters
He's got some
hangover.
free time.
I think it's just Masters hangover.
Nah, I'm sure.
I mean, you win a big tournament, you celebrate, you want to enjoy yourself. You're taking on a whirlwind of interviews and late night shows and all sorts of stuff. It's very hard to get right back in the saddle a week later.
He needs to refocus. He needs to string some things together. So he can dominate, like you were talking about Tiger, how Tiger dominated.
I don't know that the kid's going to dominate. I didn't say he was going to dominate. I think he'll just do well.
In order to dominate, he needs to be able to refocus after a big win like that.
He does need to be able to refocus after a big win like that. I think he should have taken the week off, not try to make the cut, just taken the week off. McIlroy, 22 years old, fell apart in the Masters after doing very, very well and leading going into the final round. He is doing well again. He shot a 68 for 8 under par, 64, 8 under par in the Malaysian Open so far in the opening round. And you know, this kid will be here. He'll learn from his mistakes. He'll learn how to hang tough. I don't think, you know, I think gone are the days of guys like Greg Norman who can never, you know, win when it counts. And
I used to love the Shark. I was a fan of the Shark.
He was great though, wasn't he?
I think he just had media appeal. You know, he had the hat. You know, he had the Shark on his shirt, and he had the nickname. I think he had a lot of media appeal, and that's why I like.
And
him.
And I love that hat. I once bought one of those hats to play golf in, and I realized how stupid I looked.
Were you able to swing? Was the hat falling off?
No, it stayed on my head. I didn't hit as well as he did, though. But he was a good golfer. But I think that this kid is young. He'll learn from his mistakes.
McIlroy?
Yeah, he'll learn from his mistakes, and he'll be a fine golfer.
Yeah, I'm sure. I don't think his mistakes happened in the opening round anyway. He was leading in the Masters.
It was all about the pressure.
Through the third, through the last day. So to me, the opening round is one of his strengths. Maybe he needs to be able to finish better. Maybe the pressure he doesn't feel the pressure till the end.
Just like in Mortal Kombat, he needs a finishing move.
Finish him.
And I think that that's big. I mean, in all sports, right? I mean, you need to be able to.
I think that was part of the Miami Heat's problem. They couldn't finish games early in the season, and now they found a way, whether it's coaching, whether it's getting the ball in Dwayne Wade's hands, to finish games at the end in the fourth quarter when they need those big shots. I don't think LeBron's the guy to go to, and they realize that. And that's what makes them a stronger team going into the playoffs.
Shouldn't LeBron be the guy to go to?
You know, he wasn't the guy in Cleveland. Why should he be the guy in Miami when you already have a guy in
Because
Miami?
if you're going to be the best player in the NBA,
he's not the best player in the NBA.
But if you're gonna assume that role,
he hasn't assumed that role.
Who's better than him? Kobe.
How many years? Derrick Rose.
How many years does Kobe have left before he's not the
Kevin
king?
Durant. It's a couple of players that arguably.
So you're saying that King James has never reached his full potential because he was going to be Michael Jordan?
I thought he was more like a Magic Johnson, but you know, it's all who you talk to. Because to me, he was more of a guy who helped his teammates get more into the game. He had a bunch of assists. He wasn't taking big shots at the end of the game, and he just didn't have that killer instinct to me like Michael Jordan had. So to me, he was more like a Magic, even though Magic had the killer instinct.
That killer instinct is so important in pro sports. Just to, you know,
that's what Kobe has.
He does have that, but just to crush your opponent when you have your foot on their throat, you've got to put that finishing move on. We're not putting the finishing move on just yet. We're going to take a break and come back with you. We're here till 2 p.m. Monday through Friday, every Monday through Friday, 1 to 2 p.m. on sports.com and ustream.tv. Check us out on the phone lines, 347-480-1724, and you can follow us on Twitter, sports_media. New York Auto Show is coming up next week. And you know what? You asked me to make that call yesterday. We have a meeting Monday afternoon after this show, and we're going to be live next week at the New York Auto Show and possibly the week after as well. Got a lot of exciting stuff coming up for you next week. I'm Michael Artis alongside Darrell Reed. We'll be back with you in just a moment after this quick break on Sports Daily. want everything sports, you got to go to sports.com. That's spelled SPORTCE.com. We're going to take you behind the scenes in the world of sports and a lot more. It's sport, content, and entertainment. We got a lot of great stuff. Technology segments.
Now it's got the front and back facing cameras, so you can do video chats like this one via Skype on the 3G network, and you can do FaceTime, only available on the Wi-Fi. It's got a lot of other great features. You can edit on it with iMovie. You can make songs and voiceovers.
Behind the scenes.
We back, sports.com, at this secret location behind the scenes. Jim Jones.
We'll take you into the lives of athletes, follow them off the field, but it's also music.
Be right here, but it's perfect day.
And other genres as well. Check us out, sports.com, and we've got live shows 5 days a week. A lot of live shows with live guests in our New York City studios. We've got Rally Notes at 7 p.m. on Thursday nights, The Warning Track, 6 p.m. on Friday nights, Schwartz on Sports with esteemed broadcaster Peter Schwartz, 8 p.m. on Tuesday nights, and on Wednesdays, it's The Music Movement with Daryl Reed. Check us out, sports.com.
Welcome back to Sports Daily. Daryl Reed alongside my co-host Michael Artis. Call in. We want to hear from you, the fans. 347-480-1724. Ustream.tv, our partners today and every day on Sports Daily. And we're going to get in. It seems like we're always getting to the same topics, going over the same things. Always something with the Red Sox. I mean, they're 2-9. We already know that. But I guess they made a splash today in the paper.
You know, they did make a splash. Adrian Gonzalez gets a 7-year, $154 million contract.
Let's get it right.
And I just think that the money in baseball has gotten too big. I don't think he's a good enough player to deserve that kind of money. He's not the best player in the league. He's not the best player in baseball. He's not the best player, he wasn't the best player last year. He's not the best player at his position. And I think that the owners, if you remember back to the strike of '94, leading up to that, the owners seemed to feel that everything had gotten out of control, that they were paying the players too much money.
And it's gotten worse.
They kind of ratcheted it back for a year or two, and now it's gotten worse. And I think that these guys, as owners, they need to find a way to control themselves. They're way overspending on guys, and you're going to get into a situation like the Texas Rangers got into with A-Rod, where they overpaid him so much that they couldn't afford him, and they had to ship him off to the New York Yankees, and that's what happened. And they basically, the Yankees got such a deal on that, they were only paying half his salary for the first several years because
now they're paying all of it. Though.
Well, now they're paying all of it, but they got such a deal because they were only paying half because Texas was like willing to do anything to get rid of him just because they needed to. They couldn't afford to keep him, and so I think that's what you're going to start seeing again. You're going to see problems, and then we already have labor problems in the NFL. We're looking at labor problems in the NBA, and I think you're going to start to look at.
I wonder how long baseball there.
That's what I'm saying is you're going to look
at problems. I wonder how long their contract right now is with.
I don't know. That's a good question.
Is there not? There's no salary cap, correct?
There's no, well, there is a salary cap.
There's a penalty or something?
Sort of, yes. There's a salary cap. You can exceed the salary cap. Unlike other sports, you can actually exceed it, but you pay the luxury tax. So teams like the Yankees and the Mets and the Red Sox pay an extraordinary amount of money that gets spent with other teams or sent to other teams. And then the argument a lot of times is that those teams don't, like the Pittsburgh Pirates, don't take the money and reinvest it into baseball. They wind up spending it on non-baseball related things, and then they don't get superstars, and they can't keep their superstars. And it's actually a real mess. And however, baseball has the most parity of any sport.
Yeah, it does, to a point. You see the players' faces. I think basketball is up there with baseball as far as parity is concerned. But to me, it's like, where does it end? Where do players have a cap on their contracts?
I don't think you can cap. That would be un-American. It would be uncapitalistic. I don't think you can cap the players. I think the owners just need to control themselves. You can't throw this kind of money at a guy. And I know that the Red Sox would say, well, if we don't, somebody else will. But
they're right.
And
Yankees.
And they can't talk to each other. The owners can't get together. That would be collusion. They can't get
Supposedly.
together and say, oh, well, we're not going to pay him more than 150 or more than 130. But the owners need to use some self-restraint and let players go to other teams if they want to overpay and deal with what they have. And then
I don't think that makes any sense, Mike. Let the players go to other teams. The players are going to get paid regardless. So,
it's
as
just,
as
don't
you
you think
said,
154 million is for 7 years is ridiculous?
he's playing 162 games a year. I don't know. You know, that's baseball money. It's much different than football money, much different than basketball money even.
It's
clearly,
it's 22 million a year.
Clearly,
22
he's
million a
getting
year.
paid more than A-Rod?
No, A-Rod's like 27 million.
All right. Well, then there it is.
A-Rod could have had 30, but he had to play with the Yankees and try and negotiate himself and all that stuff.
Adrian Gonzalez is, I mean, he's got
He's not
one
what-
home
is he-
run.
I mean, one home run, 268.
I mean, the Red Sox are struggling as a team. He's doing a lot better than Carl Crawford. I mean, he's batting one something.
What's Carl Crawford making? I bet he's not making.
No,
22
they're
million.
working on his deal. That was the thing. Or did they? I think they did Crawford's deal first, and then they did
I'm gonna
Gonzalez's
look it up.
deal.
I'm gonna look it up. I actually don't know.
I'm
And,
pretty sure.
I'm gonna look it up.
It's
So,
all right.
I don't know.
While
I
we're
just
on this
think-
baseball talk, you know they're trying to retrial your boy Barry Bonds.
My boy Barry Bonds. That's right. They're trying to retry.
Or they're talking about it. I don't know if they're trying to do it. I think they've wasted enough millions without Anderson, that trainer.
Why retry him? You know, I never understand retrials. A retrial in a murder case is one thing. You know, a guy gets
They
off-
didn't even retry OJ.
No. But you also can't. I mean, it's like you
He got
got to
a
find
civil
different
civil
charges.
case, I think it
They
was.
got him in the civil case, but it's different charges because once a guy's found not guilty, you can't go after him again. This was a mistrial, so you can retry it. So they would have had to bring different charges on OJ, and I think that they thought about it. But it's just such a disaster. It's such a mess, and they've already spent so much money. Yes, they could retry Bonds, but the reality is it's enough already. And we talked about this yesterday. And I just think it's ridiculous. It's so much money. It's so much time. Enough. Unless you're going to get Greg Anderson to speak, which you're not, then there's no point in retrying.
I think that's where
There's no proof. There's no proof. There's no way that I can prove that you know something. There's no way I can prove it unless I have tape of you, video or audio tape.
I
of
mean,
you
obviously
saying I
the
did
defense
this.
was ingenious. They got Greg Anderson. He's not going to testify.
But it doesn't even matter
And
if you
then
had Greg Anderson.
all those witnesses, you know, Bonds is strained,
But
whatever.
At the end of the
and
day, think of the movie Minority Report.
they just
right?
made him look bad. Credibility
You ever
issues.
see the movie Minority Report?
Yeah, I have. It's
Okay.
kind of confusing though.
Okay, so here's the deal with Minority Report. Tom Cruise is a cop in the future on a police force that stops crimes before they happen. You think about murdering somebody, and I come and arrest you as Tom Cruise, right? You don't actually commit the murder. You don't even attempt to commit the murder. I come in and I stop you. I don't know if it was a passing thought, if you were really, even in the movie when they're somehow tuned into your brainwaves, if it's an error, you know.
Have you thought about committing murder before, Mike?
Well, yeah, of course. I mean, when I was in elementary school and middle school, I used to think.
Since
like,
you've been an adult?
I used to say, well, you know, hey, what if I could kill my teacher? That would be great. No, I mean, haven't we all had a fleeting thought of like, if I could kill
Watch
that
him.
person?
Watch him.
It's not going to happen. I'm not going to do that. I'm a law-abiding citizen. But my point is that that's the perfect example. What's the line? So, okay, you say Barry Bonds took steroids and he knew about it. Now, it doesn't matter the fact that I know he knew. He definitely knew. There's no doubt in my mind. But there's no way to prove that he knew.
And that's all that
Unless you
matters.
have Barry on tape saying something like, I'm taking steroids right now, or I know I'm taking steroids, or something.
It doesn't matter.
You cannot get him. How do you prove?
Barry was real smooth with his, man. I
He
tell
was.
you. He said, "Inject me."
Here's the thing.
You know what?
How could he not knowingly? I was thinking about it the other night, though. The guy went from 100.
Did you see American Gangster with Denzel?
Yes.
He said, "Not on the phone. Not on the phone, Johnny. Don't talk on the phone." Barry didn't talk on the phone. That's for
Barry
sure.
should be a mobster. But here's the thing.
He might be.
If you grew to twice your size, right? And I'm your trainer. I'm rubbing this cream on you every day and injecting you, and I'm telling you, oh, it's flaxseed oil. And you all of a sudden grow to twice your size, and you're hitting home runs like a monster. Don't you think you turn to me and say, "Hey, Mike, come on, let's cut the BS. What do you really?"
No, I'd be like,
rubbing
"Yo,
that on?"
that flaxseed oil is unbelievable, man. That is working.
And you would not.
That flaxseed oil got me. Ooh.
The Incredible Hulk wouldn't
hitting home runs into the water, into the bay.
What about when your manhood shrinks up? Would you be like, what are you doing?
There's no proof. There goes Mike again with his allegations. There's no proof that his manhood shrunk.
This is what Kristen Bell, his mistress, said.
No credibility.
Kimberly Bell.
She's got no credibility. He's not even with her anymore.
Why does she have no credibility at all? No credibility at all?
I mean, according to the prosecutors, the defense,
according to the jury said she had no.
According to the jury,
I don't think that the jury said she had no credibility.
They said the witnesses that the prosecutors brought up, they made the defense made the credibility look bad,
and they didn't give enough of anything to prove it. But all the defense has to leave is reasonable doubt. There just has to be reasonable doubt that he might not have known, and it's very hard to say that this person absolutely knew. All right. By the way, Carl Crawford's deal, $142 million.
I told you he got paid already, and he is not playing well this year. He's batting what, 152, 0 home runs, 1 RBI, RBI.
It's 13 million less.
11 games.
It's 13 million less. All right, I think we've got some footage from the track yesterday. We had a lot of fun. It was the Monticello Motor Club in Monticello, New York. It's a country club for cars. You take your car there. It's the same country club atmosphere as a golf course, but instead of playing golf, you take your car out there and you have a lot of fun.
Shouts to my man Ari up there.
Ari is an awesome dude. We interviewed him yesterday. Ari Strauss, the president of the Monticello Motor Club. The track is
Shouts
beautiful.
to my man Matt.
You know what I was thinking about? I was thinking about what I like about the track.
My man Matt took me on the drive, showed me how to drive on the course, let me whip the CTS. I had it at like 130, 120 or something on the straightaway.
The CTS-V was a really great car, and Ari told us that yesterday, and I was really, really impressed with the car. I thought it had a lot of acceleration, a lot of get-up. It had some good handling, and it's a comfortable car. It's a good mix between luxury and speed and performance. Now, what about, first of all, let's talk about the track. One thing I liked about it was a very safe environment, and I've been to a lot of tracks. It was even more safe than other tracks. They're very careful about what they're doing, but also the runoffs are wide. For you to really hit a wall or a guardrail, you really got to be flying.
No, it's a lot of room between the track, the grass, the guard. You know, It's a lot of room for the most part. Yeah. There are some guardrails that are closer, but it's safer. It's in safer parts of the track, I feel like.
And you got to go out with an instructor before they let you go out by yourself. Now, you got some instructions. What did you think about it? I mean, have you ever driven a car like that before?
Never. I've never driven a car that fast with those types of turns, with not knowing exactly where I was going. Maybe if you have an open road, you know, on the highway or something, you let it go, or the West Side Highway, or wherever you are. I-95, something like that, where you can see a long distance, but this is no cops, no holds barred, and you really learn how to whip in and out of turns.
We have some footage of me learning not how to whip in and out of turns. I see if Artie can roll that footage. We'll talk about it.
Of course, we got Mike's footage. Who knows where my footage is?
Your footage is coming up. We have a lot of footage, and everybody's going to see this on sports.com. We're going to put a lot of pieces together coming up soon. Here's some footage. This is the Cadillac CTS-V. We had lots of cameras on this car. This is the roof camera. And this is my lap. And I think that this is going to get interesting in a second here. Now, I'm being instructed by Matt Gottlieb here, and we're getting good instructions. He's giving me good instructions.
You see those cones on the course? Those cones, you have to hit those cones, not hit them literally.
You're supposed to point the car at the cone.
Point the car at the cones. Obviously, Mike's a little off now, and then those numbers are where you have to brake in the course if you're at high accelerating speeds. You see
and right now, it doesn't look like we're going that fast, and that's the one thing that throws me off about the track is you don't feel the speed. It's not like the road where you can feel and know how fast you're going.
Here's the straightaway.
We did about right here. I do about $120 on this straightaway.
I got it to $130. Mike's weak.
Well, you know, it was my first lap. I had only been on the course once.
So
as a passenger.
I mean, that's the longest straightaway on the course, and as you see, as you come out of this curve, you see all those white numbers coming up. You have to slow down, and I think
you go from about 130 to about 60 real quick, and then you make this tight turn here, and it's a lot tighter than it looks. And this is real tight right there, a little nice S.
little snake. They call
How
that the
about that?
snake.
Look, I'm driving her right, D. I'm doing her right.
Yeah. Now here's where Mike tries to push it a little too hard.
Look at that. I'm still doing good. I can handle this track.
I
I'm
think you
feeling
said-
good about myself. You see the guardrails are far off. You got a good runoffs. You know, if you run off the track a little, nothing's going to really hurt you.
You see where
which is
some
good.
people have had issues back there into those tires.
Yeah, you see the
Mike's
tire
supposed to be
tracks are doing
braking.
good.
He's not.
Downshift, little acceleration. Oh, what do we got here? Oopsie.
Yeah, Mike kind of spun out on the track. I wish they would have.
I was just doing a victory lap.
I wish they would have had the
you know,
split
victory
screen
circle.
of
Well,
the
we're
track and Mike and Mike's face. You should have seen Mike's face because you know Mike's into cars and into driving fast. He's been doing it since he was 12 years old. So you see him and Matt's giving him instruction. He's like, yeah, okay. And then you see him getting comfortable. He's like, Matt tells him something and he just doesn't listen. He goes, sorry. And then you see his eyes get big and then he starts playing with buttons and downshifting, doing things he's not supposed to be doing.
You know, they said if I was in a manual transmission, I would have been in a lot more trouble. I still maintain if I was in a manual transmission, I would have had a lot more control, or I would have felt like I would have had a lot more control over the car.
Once
This
again,
is the mistake I made, and I'll
This
tell you.
is Mike telling the drivers and the pros at the track which
No,
would have been
no,
better.
no. I made a
They
mistake.
said you would have been worse in manual. That means you would have been worse in manual.
I'm not telling them that they don't know what they're talking about. These guys are very
You said you
knowledgeable.
maintained the fact that you think you would have been better
I
in
would
manual.
have felt, I will tell you
Mike's
this.
got control issues.
I would have felt more comfortable in the car if it was manual. I would have felt that I would have had more comfort. You know, the paddle shifters, I'm thinking what's up, what's down, what gear am I in, instead of knowing where I am, okay, which is more comfortable. And I'm not used to having, you know, I kept feeling for that clutch pedal that I didn't have, and I have this big brake pedal. What I did wrong here is this. I come in and I downshift hard, which is fine. I needed to brake there. Instead of braking, I downshifted hard, and I thought I had slowed the car down enough, and I gave it gas. And it's a very, very high performance car. It's got
It's a powerful car.
horsepower, right to the back wheels. And I stamped on that gas instead of gingerly giving it gas. Even I stamped on it, and the wheels, all the power went to those wheels as I was in the turn. And then I tried to overcorrect. As you saw it slide one way, I tried to overcorrect, and then when I overcorrected, it slid the other way. And so that's the mistake I made. But hey, look, nobody got hurt. It's a very safe environment. It's a lot of fun. And I learned a lot too, and hopefully my instincts would teach me something different in a similar situation, even if it was on the road in bad weather.
Definitely. You know, we got a lot more footage from Monticello Motorsports Club, and what they told us there was that this track actually helps people on the road because they have what were they talking about?
Well, they have aggressive driving courses, and they also have a skid pad, and they can wet the skid pad down. They can ice the skid pad over, and you can go out there and you can really learn how to handle a car in different weather conditions. So you have the confidence and the instincts to really handle a car. Here's one of the instructors. He's driving the CTSV Coupe, and that Coupe is
you see how he's almost hitting those cones?
And it's a manual, and
it's straight manual. This one.
Yeah, this one's straight manual. He was doing amazing in this car. I mean, we have more footage of this. We'll keep going with it, but we have footage of him drifting the car, sliding the car sideways in the turns, and keeping it sideways. And then in talking with him, he was telling us that it's a combination of brake release, throttle, steering to help him do that.
I wish. Yeah, it was probably drifting right there. You can't even tell.
Can't see it
you
'cause we're
can't
looking
tell
at the
from
front
this
wheels
angle.
now.
Yeah.
There you go. You see a little smoke maybe. There you go.
I told Dorman we should have put another cam on that car.
We should. Well, we have plenty of footage. We have several camera angles.
But on this car that Jason had, that last.
Here you go.
Oh
Look at
yeah,
this.
you
Look
can
at this.
see.
Here
You can.
go. We had the Mini on. He had the Mini on two wheels. He drove that Mini. We had a Mini crossover we were testing, and he took it out and really pushed the limits. And he had the thing on two wheels. The sidewalls of the tires were scratched up afterwards. We got some good footage of that too. We'll have to show you a lot of great stuff on sports.com coming up. We also, I wanted to say, by the way, on sports.com have some New York Post writers talking about the NBA playoffs and giving their reactions about the NBA playoffs. We did the East Coast the other day. We have the West Coast coming up today. So by tonight, there'll be a lot of segments on the NBA playoffs in conjunction with the New York Post, so you can check that out. And those guys are great over there, Rome and Daryl and then Peter Vesey and Chris Shaw helped set that up, and of course Mark Hale. So those guys were great, and it was a great thing, and we look forward to doing more with them.
Yeah, shout out to the New York Post. They come in studio. We like, you feed them lunch and stuff. That's pretty hot, man. Like, they don't feed me lunch.
Feeding everybody lunch. There was lunch for you.
They don't feed me lunch.
There was lunch for Artie. But anyway, the track was a lot of fun, and I think that the good thing is it's a good place to go learn how to handle a car, and it's a good, safe environment to drive a car.
I thought this place was, when I first talked about it and first talked to my man Ari, I said, is this like a secret society? But then I figured it out. It's a big money society, because people are out there in Porsches, Lamborghinis, and it's toys. It's toy cars, and you're pushing it to the limit.
We saw a lot of cool stuff, had a lot of fun, and we'll have a lot of great video coming up on sports.com in the next few days and weeks to come. And we had a lot of fun doing it. So it was a great experience. Spent the day at the track, and rally notes even went off from the track as well.
Yeah, shouts to Greg Dorman and Erica.
The only thing I was disappointed was we saw the GT40. We were going to take it out. The battery was dead. But I thought it was going to be a great car, and it really, the build quality of the car was terrible.
Mike gets in this Ford GT, and I don't even know cars. I'm learning hanging out with Mike. Mike gets in his Ford GT and just starts ripping it apart. He says, I'm uncomfortable, I can't see over the steering wheel, and da-da-da-da. These are cheap locks and cheap handles on the door.
It was like putting a Ford Mustang together with a nicer car, and it didn't work. Mustang's great.
And then
for
you
what
complained
it is.
about how the doors open. They wanted to keep it original.
Yeah, it wasn't. I was very disappointed in the build quality. I think it says a lot to Ford that they can't figure out how to get anything right, in my mind.
I used to have a Ford LTD. That was my first car, a maroon Ford LTD, before I crashed it.
How'd you crash it?
It wasn't my fault. It wasn't my fault.
Not like that on the track.
It was a construction worker. He waved me across at the wrong time.
Oh. All right, this is Sports Daily on sports.com and ustream.tv. I'm Michael Artsis alongside Daryl Reed. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back and power through the rest of Sports Daily on this Friday with you. We're here every Monday through Friday, 1 to 2 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm not talking playoffs.
Playoffs? We'll be right back.
Hello there, everybody. Welcome to the Warning Track. I'm Matt Mankiewicz.
If you could change one thing about the game today, what would it be?
Baseball fans, don't forget to check out the Warning Track Friday nights at 6 p.m. with Brett Quintine and Matt Mankiewicz. They'll take you through the MLB season talk, everything baseball, have great guests, and field your calls. It's 6 p.m. on Friday nights. Don't miss it. The Warning Track. It's out of here.
Welcome to Sports. My name is Greg Dorman, and this is Rally Notes.
Racing fans, don't forget that on Thursdays at 7 p.m., it's time for Rally Notes. Greg Dorman, rally racing co-driver from Klein Racing, hosts guests and takes your calls about the entire automotive industry, rally racing, and auto racing in general. Rally racing is a great sport. They have Subarus and all sorts of off-road, all-wheel drive vehicles that run through the mud and the backlogging roads. But he's not only talking rally, he'll talk all sorts of racing and automobiles as well. We'll test cars, we'll drive cars, and we'll have a lot of fun. Rally Notes, 7 p.m. on Thursday. Don't miss it.
Welcome back to Sports Daily, Ustream.tv. Call us 347-480-1724. Dal Reed, Michael Artsis. And we're going to be talking a little playoffs now.
Little hockey playoffs. How about that?
I mean, that's your sport.
It's
I only know a little bit.
You went to your first hockey game this year, first pro hockey game.
First pro hockey game.
That was a lot of fun. We saw the Devils play, Ottawa Senators,
My boy.
Ryan Poltoni.
Shout out to Rybo. Getting ready for next season.
I look forward to talking to him more. He's a great guy.
He's
We had a
probably
lot of
back
fun
in
with
Minnesota.
We had a good interview with him. He probably is back in Minnesota. So, what about? But you do follow hockey a little bit. And,
a little bit.
And so here's what I got for the playoffs. Game 2 of the Blackhawks and the Canucks. And the Canucks lead the series 1-0. Who do you have?
Blackhawk Canucks. Canucks. I just want the Blackhawks to lose. They traded my man Rybo, my boy Ryan Patoni, out to Ottawa. They're going to lose.
I got the Blackhawks, even though they're down 1-0.
Forget the Blackhawks. I just want them to lose. I got my picks right here.
Now,
the Blackhawks lose.
You know, I've said in the past that I like teams because of their uniforms or didn't like teams because of their uniforms.
We've
for
heard
different
that
sports.
before.
So when San Jose came out, the San Jose Sharks, I really liked those uniforms. It was different.
They
it was
do
fresh.
got some hot unis.
So I'd like to go with San Jose here in the Kings-San Jose matchup, but I got the LA Kings. And I don't like their
I'll take
unis.
San Jose.
And I don't like those purple and the old school purple and yellow ones either. So I like the San Jose uniforms. I just think that the Kings are going to win. And San Jose leads that series 1-0.
I'll go with San Jose. I don't care about that series.
How about this one? Rangers and Washington Capitals. Capitals lead the series 1-0.
I'm going to go with the Rangers only because we're live right now in Midtown.
Rangers, baby. I can't go against my Rangers no matter what.
Rangers.
They're going to come back and win this series without a doubt. And how about Buffalo and the Flyers?
Come on, Buffalo, my boy Thomas Vanek. Vanek, we got to get you in here, man. We got to get you on the phone, something. I'm working on that, getting my boy Thomas Vanek, from the U.
You know what? I had a feeling that the Flyers would win this. They're the 2 seed. Buffalo leads the series 1-0. I'm in a New York state of mind, and your boy Vanek is over there, so let's go with Buffalo.
You see Mike's trying to agree with me. You see that?
Yeah, I am.
All right.
You got a problem with?
I'm going with Buffalo. I got my picks. I got the teams I care about.
I wrote it down as as the Flyers, but as I was looking at it, I don't really like
He wrote down. He just switched it. He just.
I crossed it out because I went with Buffalo. I said I was in a New York state of mind.
Right.
I like Vanek, who's your boy, and in addition to that, the Flyers fans are terrible. And I can't like them.
I got nothing against
as a Rangers
fans.
As a Ranger fan,
Mike's always trying to pick fights with people. Like if we ever go to another city, we're gonna have issues with the Flyers fans
as a
now.
Ranger fan, I can't pick the Flyers to win anything.
All right, who we got? What's the next matchup?
Okay, next matchup is Phoenix Coyotes and the Detroit Red Wings. Detroit leaves the series 1-0.
I got Detroit just because Detroit is known to be a good hockey team. They've been very good in this era, and I got to go with Detroit.
Can't go against the Red Wings. I have
at all.
I have the Red Wings. I have some love for the Motor City.
One thing, the Motor City.
It's hockey town.
It's not hockey town, but they definitely have that going for them. The Red Wings.
Do you remember when they used to throw octopus on the ice?
No. I'm not a hockey fan. Don't try to give me history.
They used to throw octopus on the ice.
You can give me a history lesson.
Well, they used to throw in the 90s. They used to throw octopus on the ice in Detroit.
For what reason?
If there was a goal scored, I think it started as a hat trick and then it got out of hand and became just a goal. Florida started throwing rats.
Okay,
fake rats
do you go to the game with an octopus in your
would.
bag?
They would. They would. Guys swear.
Or are they selling it at the concession stand?
Artie,
okay, come get your octopus before the third period starts.
Artie's in our control room. He's been manning our control room, doing a wonderful job, as you saw the footage come in. And he has been doing all this, putting the graphics in, running the control room. Artie, how you doing in there? He's in there. I want him to talk a little bit here.
Artie doesn't want to talk.
I know he doesn't, but I'm bringing him on.
He doesn't want to talk.
Good.
Hey, Artie, how's it going, man?
It's good. Going good.
How do you like it?
I like it. I like it. I thought you were going to ask me for a picture of an octopus.
Hold on a second. I'm going to get to that. Before I wanted to bring you on air. This is your first week here at sports.com. And we wanted to ask you how you're doing, introduce you to the audience a little. So Artie's in our control room. One of these days we'll get a camera in there so you can take a look at Artie. And Artie, have you been enjoying yourself?
Yeah. I think it's really cool.
Thank you. He's been doing a great job.
Artie, you're definitely doing a great job.
Thank
Much
you.
better than Mike or Josh.
Yeah, well, that's good. Because I'm out here not running the control room. But he's been doing a great job. And yesterday especially, we had a lot of tricks in the bag because we were not here. We were on site. And he did a great job. So, Artie, thank you for that.
Hats off. Hats off to my man, Artie.
All right, so now this is what I want you to do, Artie. I want you to pull up, go to YouTube, see if you can find a video, and we'll play it. you got to search, I guess, Red Wings and octopus and see if we can find some people throwing real octopus on the ice.
Are they
Darryl can
like
see it.
the small octopus like that
No.
that you have for calamari? Or are these like big, like full?
They're probably like 8-pound octopuses. Would you say that's a small octopus? I don't know.
I don't know. I'm not an octopus.
Well, you're going to see in a minute. Artie's going to pull up some footage on YouTube. I'm sure it's there somewhere. He's going to pull it up. We're going to continue to talk about the playoffs. But I will tell you, the Panthers in Florida, they took on that, and they started throwing fake rats onto the ice because when there were hat tricks, it got out of hand. The NHL banned throwing stuff like that.
All right. So here we go. Back to that. So were the octopus real?
The octopus were real. In Florida, they threw fake rats on the ice, and they used to have guys dressed up in Orkin uniforms come and clean them up, as if they were exterminators.
I know some rats.
But it stops the game. It takes like 20 minutes to clean
some
the
rats
ice.
they need to put on ice.
All right.
What other picks we got?
Okay, so we got the Ducks and the Predators, Nashville Predators.
Don't care. Maybe the Ducks from the movie.
Nashville
the
leads
Mighty
the
Ducks.
series 1-0 but I got the Ducks.
I'll take the Ducks.
And those Predators uniforms are pretty busted.
I'll write that down because that's one of those
Here's
series I
a good one.
About.
This is an old school original 6 hockey matchup: the Boston Bruins and the Montreal Canadiens. Montreal leads the series 1-0.
Montreal is that really Hockey Town, Montreal?
No, Hockey Town's Detroit.
All right. Well, I mean, here in the U.S., but what about in Canada? You don't know.
Toronto.
You know what? Mike's making this up. Do not, Artie. We might have to have
Artie,
research some more stuff.
can you pull up the Red Wings website so he can say it's okay?
I know Detroit. I'm talking about in Canada.
It's called Hockey Town.
I don't care about that.
But in Canada, Toronto is the mecca of hockey. They, and they've got that's where they got the Hall of Fame.
Is that where the outdoor stadium is?
There is no outdoor stadium.
There is an outdoor arena. Like they play the game up there in Canada. Artie,
it's called.
I need pictures.
Hold on. It's called the
outdoor.
Winter. Hold on. Here we go. Look, that is a real octopus. Look at that, cleaning up a real octopus from the ice.
What year was this, Artie? What year?
Like 96, probably.
I kind of remember that.
That's a fake octopus, clearly. Doesn't say.
Maybe it was real.
But we got to get it on the ice. There's got to be footage of people throwing them on the ice. Look at that. The people brought them to the game. How disgusting is that? I wouldn't even touch an octopus, let alone bring it to a game in a plastic bag.
That's incredible. Like the ice on the octopus, that's just incredible.
I guess you got to bring it on ice too, otherwise it would stink. You got to like put it in a cooler or something.
I mean, does everybody come to
turn
the
this
game
guy
with
up,
a
the
bucket?
building manager. Let's see what he has to say.
They come with a bucket.
I don't know how they did it. It was crazy though.
Wow, that's amazing. Speaking of octopus, my aunt played in the James Bond movie Octopussy.
She did?
Yeah,
really?
True story. Gloria Hendry.
IMDb, baby. IMDb. Look at this. My phone's ringing off the hook.
Oh, you shouldn't have it on the desk right now.
I shouldn't. Well, I'm texting.
All right, so you got Montreal, or who do you got?
I'm going to go with Boston, and I like Boston. I've always liked Boston.
I don't know anybody on Boston.
Here we go. We got some. We got some. He said he's got some video of them throwing it on the field. I just want to correct him. Obviously not a hockey fan. It's ice. But let's roll it, Artie. Here you go. We're going to see some octopus getting thrown eventually.
I mean, he's got an octopus in his hand. It looks like he didn't bring that one on ice, though.
Yeah. It's coming up. He's telling us it's coming up. You want to get on the microphone and tell everybody what you're telling us in our ear? It's coming up.
I don't hear
Yeah, it's coming up right now.
All right, it's coming.
Is this the building manager throwing the octopus?
This is the building manager doing who knows what.
Is he the original octopus thrower?
I don't even know how it started. It doesn't even make any sense. This has got to be the guy who makes the octopus. Cooking the octopus. That's great.
Well, the one the lady had in her hand on ice looked raw.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I'm telling you, they were selling octopus out of the stands, out of concession stands.
They were not selling them out of the stands. I'm telling you.
That's what it looks like. Gordie Howe. I hear he's a pretty big legend.
He was amazing. He was amazing. And I met him when I went to hockey camp. You
met Gordie Howe?
Yeah, I did. He was the guy who came when I was at hockey camp.
Amazing.
Yeah, it was pretty ridiculous. And then he said, and I think to this day I don't really know, but he said, tell me any shot and I'll make it. And some kid raised his hand, and Gordie Howe said, I'll make it. And he said, I want you to stand on one goal line, shoot to the other net. I want you to hit post, and in. And Gordie Howe said, no problem. and he did it. And I first shot, and I don't know to this day if he just got lucky
listen,
or if he's that good.
I don't say this much.
And Gordie Howe was in his 70s.
I don't say this much because most of Mike's stories are 100% true. But this one could be slightly altered.
This is true.
So,
and then Kirk Muller came, and Kirk Muller broke
we
the
need
puck
a
in half.
witness to call in
Stars Hockey
347
Camp
480-1724.
1990.
We have a witness out there that went to
Stars
Stars Hockey Camp
in Canada.
in 1980.
Guelph, Ontario.
In Ontario,
1990.
the capital of Canadian hockey, Ontario.
So, by the way, they have the Winter Classic in hockey. Gordie Howe was a great guy.
The Winter Classic, where's that at?
That is at a different stadium every year, and they usually
All
do
right.
it. They did it in Pittsburgh. They do it at a baseball stadium.
It was
usually.
outdoor.
Outdoors, but they do it at a baseball stadium. They did it in Pittsburgh. They did it at Fenway.
The big one started in Canada, I'm pretty sure.
It definitely started in Canada.
Thank you. Hats off to me. So
I love how you're just right by that. But there is no open air stadium.
Listen. What else?
They built for hockey. That's all I'm saying.
I got the Ducks. I got Montreal.
Okay, I got Boston. You
And I got
Montreal. I got
Montreal.
Boston. Okay, the Habs. You got the Habs. I'm not
I think
a
I took
Montreal
the
fan. I've
Sharks.
never liked Montreal since Patrick Roy.
All right. What's the next game?
And then Pittsburgh and Tampa Bay. And Pittsburgh
Pittsburgh
leads the
shouts
series
to
1-0.
my boy Paul Martin, defenseman.
I got Pittsburgh.
Defenseman over in Pittsburgh from the U.
I think the Lightning have no shot.
I think the University of Minnesota is hockey college.
The University of Minnesota should be hockey college. They have unbelievable
You know what?
facilities.
Though they
Herb
haven't
Brooks
been to the
coached there.
Frozen Four in 2 years. I'm kind of upset.
They've got great hockey players that come out of there. The facilities are amazing. And I've
Shouts
got
to
the
Coach
chance,
Lucia out there.
I've got the chance to tour it with you, and I think it's a wonderful facility and it's beautiful. And I hope that Cal Dietz and the guys can get
Shouts to Cal Dietz, the strength coach out
can
there.
get that program back on track because it is a wonderful program. The facility's
I don't
wonderful.
think it's
and
really
it should
that
be.
far off track.
Should be
But
hockey school.
our standards is just high
Maine's
for hockey.
a good hockey school. Michigan.
I would have never liked hockey if it wasn't for the University of Minnesota.
I know. And it's cool. You got to check out a game at
my hockey boys,
a
of
Gopher
course.
game. You definitely have to check out a Gopher game. I'd like to do that one day.
All right.
Maybe we'll take the show on the road there. Let's go to the NBA.
That's
Those
all
are
the picks?
That's it.
All right.
Who do you got, Memphis or the Spurs?
It's
Spurs.
playoff time, so we're taking our picks for the playoffs.
The Spurs.
You got the Spurs. Okay, yeah, Spurs.
Come on.
Yeah, that's easy.
The Lakers or the Hornets? Lakers.
LA.
No, there's no way we're going to disagree there.
All right. LA,
Dallas or
San
Portland?
Antonio.
I got Dallas.
I'm going to take Portland, actually, in that matchup. I think they match up well. They got a young team, and they're tough. I mean, this is the team that the Lakers did not want to play in the playoffs, and now Dallas has to play them. I think Dallas is going to have some issues.
Well, I think you're right, but I really like Dallas, so I'm rooting for them, and I'm going to pick Dallas.
That's because, you know what, we're going to get to why you like Dallas. I got that. That's a topic on today's show.
Okay, and the Nuggets and the Thunder, which I'm still not used to.
Now, this is very
Come on, you've been a Denver boy. You got to go with the
matchup.
Nuggets.
Very intriguing. If Chauncey was still in Denver, forget Carmel. If Chauncey was still in Denver, I'd be going with the Nuggets. But since he's not, even though I got my boy J.R. Smith and Ty Lawson out there, I got to go with Oklahoma City. Westbrook, Durant, just way too strong. And they got Kendrick Perkins because of the dumb trade that the Boston Celtics did.
All right, I got Denver, and I'm
All
probably
right.
wrong. Indianapolis and Chicago in the East.
It's Chicago. That's
Yeah,
easy.
I got that. Philadelphia, Miami.
Of course, you probably got Miami in the finals.
I do, so I'm just
All
going
right.
to say Miami for everything. Knicks, Boston. I'll take Boston.
You know what? This is another intriguing matchup for me. Just because of Boston, how they've been falling apart towards the end of the season, how the Knicks have been playing so well, and I just don't know. Without a healthy Shaquille O'Neal, I think he's practicing today. Today's a big day for him, but you know, Jermaine O'Neal is just, you know, you never know with those guys. They're so brittle. I'm going to take New York, even though I'm a Boston Celtics fan.
I like that, though. I'd like to see New York do well. Amare says they're going to win.
I'm finally picking with my head and not my heart, like you.
There you go. I'm picking with my heart a little in some of these, but not here. I'm
What,
picking the
Boston
Celtics.
over New York?
No,
You
I
picked
said-
with your heart?
No,
You
I
hear
said
that,
in
New
some of
Yorkers,
these.
right?
I said in some of these.
All right.
Look, Amari says they're going to do it. He says that they got the team to do it.
Okay.
And then Atlanta, Orlando. I've got Orlando.
I'll take Atlanta. Atlanta's a young team. Even though this one I'm picking with my neither my heart nor my head. This is just
random.
An anti-artist pick. That's what I call it. Anti-artist.
All right, real
Just going
quick,
against what you're saying.
let's talk about Phil Jackson. He's retiring. He's announced that he's retiring and that there will not be basketball next season in his mind. Butch Beard said he doesn't think there'll be basketball on this very show. Said that he doesn't think there'll be
The
basketball next year.
NBA fined him. The NBA fined Phil Jackson because
$75,000.
he's talking about the collective bargaining agreement. He's saying it's the perfect time for him to retire, that the Lakers can get all their stuff together, a new staff, during the gap that there's no basketball. And he even said that he doesn't think it's going to be any basketball next year, which is a big comment from somebody who's a big person in basketball.
Yeah, I mean, it is a big comment, but I think he's just speaking his mind and he doesn't care.
And that's why you got to love Phil Jackson.
And that's why I like Mark Cuban.
And the other thing, you got to remember, Phil Jackson plays these psychological games with his players. So in saying that, he's not only saying it because he speaks his mind, he's saying it to Kobe Bryant, to Ron Artest, to Paul Gasol,
So do you think he's
to
saying,
Andrew Bynum. You guys better get your together because this is my last year.
That's what I was going to ask
If
you.
you
Do
want to
think
win
that's what
another
he's saying?
championship with me here, we got to do it now.
So you think that that's what he's doing? He's playing a head game and
I
doing
think
it. He's a phenomenal coach, and he was a great player.
And a lot of his stuff is psychological. So I think he's definitely playing that mind game with his players and really trying to get them in gear because they went their 5-game losing streak into the playoffs.
Then it's a $75,000 well spent.
If they win the championship,
Yeah.
I don't know if they can beat San Antonio without a healthy Andrew Bynum.
If they win, it'll be a good $75,000 well spent. If not, it's a really interesting parting gift.
Yeah. And now we'll talk about why Mike picked Dallas to beat Portland, which I think is the upset, in the Western Conference. I think a lot of people are picking that upset because Portland is such a good young team and they got a lot of underrated players out there or up there in Portland. It's because Mark Cuban was talking about becoming a minority owner of the Mets, and Mike just got so thrilled when he heard Mets, that, he just fell in love with Mark Cuban.
Thrilled.
I mean, you love 86 Mets. Don't forget it. It's Mike's team.
Yeah, but I don't think it's going to happen. So you heard him.
No, he said this is what happened.
I've said it's not going to happen.
No. What, Mark Cuban?
Yeah.
No, I mean, when he put his bid in, and the bidding kept happening, and he's like, listen, I don't want to go through the same thing I went through with the Texas Rangers, with the Chicago Cubs. Remember, he put in the bid for the Chicago Cubs, $1.3 billion, and that was like the second to the final round. He didn't even get into the final round of bidding. He's like, I don't want to waste my time and energy on this and end up with a minority stake in a team that I don't even know what they're going to be worth.
The Mets have to get serious and realize that whatever they're selling isn't a minority stake. They need to sell 85% of that team.
Yeah, well, they're offering 15%.
Yeah, well, nobody's buying 15% for $700 million or $800 million.
What I liked about Mark Cuban's interview this morning on Mike and Mike is he talked about the NFL and the NFL owners and the fact that owners are talking about losing money and not making as much money as they feel like they should be making. He put a very good perspective on the situation. He said, listen, NFL owners, when you bought this team, however many years ago, when your fathers bought this team, when your family bought this team, you did not buy this team for $1.3 billion, for $1 billion. So you've made so much money on that initial investment that there's no way you can say you're losing. And that was a perspective I never thought about.
Yeah, there's no way that these guys are losing anyway. You can twist the books however you want, but there's no way that these guys are losing money. With their filling stadiums, they've got great TV deals. There's no way that the NFL owners are losing money. Are they not making as much as they'd like to make? Possibly, but they're not losing money. It's a recession.
Nobody's making as much as they want to make.
And to say that it'll be interesting to see how it shakes out. But I don't think anybody should or does feel bad for the owners in the NFL. And I think that Mark Cuban said it. He always has a way of saying it. It's one of his things. He's a master communicator. He always has a way of putting it that is easy to understand.
Mets. Nah, but I give a lot of props to Mark Cuban for actually being the owner and saying something that kind of was against owners.
Would you like an owner like Mark Cuban if he was a football owner? If he was a football owner, would that be good?
I'm sure Mark Cuban's a great owner.
just
I'm not
asking.
arguing with that.
I'm just asking.
I'm not arguing with that. That doesn't mean I like the Mavericks.
I'm rooting for
Were you.
Well,
You're a Cuban fan. I'm with the Mavericks.
Buffalo Sabres because of Vanek. Why not root for the Dallas
Well,
Mavericks?
they play.
Of,
he doesn't play. If I was a,
but I like what he's doing with the team, so
if
I'm
I was
rooting
a
for them to
Dirk
do well.
Nowitzki fan, I would go for the Mavericks. I'm really not a Dirk fan. I'm a J Kidd. I like Jason Kidd, but not, enough to. I like Sean Marion.
I like Jamana Kid.
Jamana Kidd.
All right. And that will do it for Sports Daily this week on sports.com and ustream.tv. I'm Michael Artsis alongside Darrell Reed. You can follow us on Twitter at sports_media. Check out our site, sports.com. We've got a lot of great video content for you, a lot of great on-demand stuff. Our racing stuff will be up there soon. All our shows are put on demand there, and the segments and the interviews as well, in addition to some great on-demand content that we shoot out in the field with a bunch of different reporters, and Darrell and I as well. And that auto racing stuff will be there, and then we'll have some stuff with the New York Post writers later today. By this evening, we'll have that up as well. And the warning track is tonight at 6 p.m. talking baseball with Brett Quintine and Matt Mankiewicz. And they've got a very special guest from Kansas City on tonight.
Thank God it's Friday. We'll catch you on Monday. Sports Daily. Peace.